Hey,
All right, so welcome everyone. We are live here with you all this evening, and you probably saw it. We are talking about, where you spending your black dollars at or your dollar, right? We don't know what's in your bank account, but we just got a question, having a meaningful, positive conversation on tonight with so many things that's going on. And so, before we get started and hop into the conversation, I'm here. Yes, I'm outnumbered tonight, but it's okay. Um, with some fine gentlemen joining us on tonight. Mr. Gerard Ware, who is the founder of the Floor is Yours podcast. So, Gerard, we are so excited to have you here. And I almost want to say Dr. Dame, okay? Dr. Damon
Please.
in the building with Infusion TV. And so, look, go ahead, hit the share button now. We're going to get this out the way. Make sure you're commenting in the comments, leave your comments, ask your questions if you have resources, all of these things. We want this to be an engaged conversation. And so, Gerard, go ahead, introduce yourself, let everyone know who you are. Why are you here tonight?
hey, hey, good evening, everybody. First of all, appreciate you spending your evening with us. Sorry for our tardiness, but we was working on some technicalities in the background. But we here. Yeah, she pointed her, but it's us over here. So we're gonna help her share this load because that's what this is about. What can we do as a collective? So my name is Gerard Ware. I'm the founder of the Floor is Yours podcast and the nonprofit Mache. We're a grassroots organization where we are boots on the ground, to use my military lingo. We are boots on the ground, engaging with people, finding out what their needs are so we can help them provide their resources. And tonight, as Carlika alluded to, we're talking about your black dollars. We're not trying to count your dollars, but we are trying to influence where you spend your money. So I'm glad that you're here. Get ready for a spirited a conversation. It's needed. All you got to do is just turn your TV on the news or look at the headlines, and you see that we are literally under attack. Our community is under attack. But I don't want us to take it and just lay down and let them do whatever. So we're here to talk about what we can do as a collective and as our own individual responsibility to help change our course. So appreciate everybody. Let's get this thing going.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you, Gerard. And Dr. Dane, the floor is yours,
Uh,
okay?
well, I don't know about the Dr. Dame, but good evening, everybody. My name is Damon Cunningham, aka Dame D NYDC. I am the CEO of Infusion TV and Two Mics Up. I'm here tonight, really, and I come from more of an educational piece. I think everything that Gerard and Carlika has, so eloquently said so far is much needed. We see it on the news. We're experiencing the impact in our daily lives, but it's about resources. And I think it's very important for us to be able to educate ourselves not only on our history, but how we can use our history to really impact ourselves as we move forward and provide certain resources so that we're looking at things a little bit differently than maybe we have in the past. And I just applaud Gerard, Carlika, and the Mogul TV, family for really bringing this conversation to the forefront. And I hope you all enjoy it, and I hope you all really participate in the conversation because this too is not just about us and our opinions and our thoughts, but it's also our community, our blacks, brothers and sisters that are really struggling, and I really hope you participate in this conversation this evening. So thank you again.
Okay, I love it. And so, you all, I didn't introduce myself, and neither did they. Okay, y'all already see how this gonna go tonight,
Now
right?
we got you, sis. We together.
I know. And so, you all, we love collaborating, bringing real conversations. And like they said, you know what? We're not just here to speak our opinions, but we want to hear from you because all of the things that we're seeing is mentally, it's physically, it's financially, it's adjusting and pivoting in so many aspects of our lives. And so I'm Carlika Katrina Bass Knight Menendez, and I'll be moderating this conversation on tonight with these brothers up here. But drop your questions. We really want you all to be engaged. And if you have not shared this live already, go ahead and share it. And I'm the CEO and founder of Inso Inc. Inside Out, where we're talking all things wellness, women's wellness, employee wellness, and engagement, specifically the hottest topic in town. And I got my handy dandy fan right here, right? menopause. And so if y'all see me pull out the fan, don't worry about it. Get your own because I'm just a little hot, okay? That's where I be spending my dollars. Keep it cool. But nevertheless, so why are we here? Why does this conversation even matter? And I want to hear from you all as well. Why, Mr. Dame said a little bit, right? But why are we here? Why is this topic of conversation important? Why is this conversation meaningful? And how does it hit you seemingly personally? Like we're hearing so many things in the media, in the news, and all over. But how does this conversation, what does it mean to you, especially? We'll be hopping into, I'm sure some of you all have heard, if you watch the news, how Target has received so much pushback, right? Now, raise your hand in the comments. You're a Target shopper. We're not here to judge you if you shop there or if you don't, but we're just trying to bring education to say, how can you redirect that? Because even if you choose not to shop at Target and boycott and all the things that we're going to talk about tonight, where are you redirecting your dollars?
Yeah.
Are you building it somewhere else? Are you investing it somewhere else? And so they've received so much pushback after changing its DEI. And so I want to hear you all's take on that part. When you heard that, what did it make you feel like, or what automatically did you think? And either one of you all can go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you ride.
Okay. Yeah, for me, it was troubling. You know, we go back to George Floyd. You know, everybody's familiar with that. Death of George Floyd at the hands of police, and it was one of many. It was just that one kind of took fire above most of the other ones, you know. And what Target did, and a lot of the community, a lot of the country, it wasn't just Target. They took a stand and they made a pledge to do their part. You know, we know it just the history of this country. You get organizations taking the lead, and it helps because they have all the resources, they have the influence, they can reach the masses. But what Target did is they pledged, I want to say it was $2 billion to help minority communities. And that was to create a robust DEI program within their organization. It was to help get Black suppliers, help them get their products in their stores and to sell them on their shelves in Target. And for me, it was pretty meaningful because just you know, the nature of the country at that moment, it was pretty volatile. So for Target to make that stand, especially understanding us, you know, we talk about Target, we nicknamed it Target. Yeah, you know, Target was kind of like the uppity, you know, bougie shopper that we could somewhat afford. For them to take a stand, it was pretty meaningful. And them to pledge so much money, and they pledged to do that before 2025. Well, what happened is, you know, changing of the guard at the president, and he, 47. To keep from calling his name, he's president number 47. He made an all-out attack on the DEI programs, and Target initially took a stand for it. They made a choice and took a stance and decided to pull away from it. Well, after making that pledge, and you know, I'll be honest, whenever I wanted to go get some board games, you know, that was specific to our community, I went to Target.
Yeah.
When Walmart was doing what they was doing, I went to Target. It was a little more expensive, but I did go to Target and start to support them. I bought records and, you know, record players and food and a number of things to Target. Well, when they made their stand, I just said it's time for us to make our stand. And one more thing before I pass it to Mr. Dane. Jamal Bryant, the pastor at the church down in Atlanta in the NAACP, they all came together and they decided that we were going to do what they call a Target fast. So we'll talk about the details of that later, but that's essentially what brought us here to have this discussion. I thought that, and I told y'all that it would be negligent for us as an organization under Mogul TV to not do something. So I think that's why we're here, to do our part, to make sure that we're educating the people and making a stance ourselves. So
no, I think what well said, Gerard. And I honestly, you know, what brought me to this just was that piece that you just ended on, the Target fast, and really trying to wrap my own head around the importance of it. And although I'm one individual, how impactful can I be, or what role can I play in trying to educate others? And you know, Carlika and I, and you as well, and the Mogul TV family, you know, shout out to Tamika. You know, we sat and really tried to brainstorm, the importance. And it's one of those things. I think it's safe to say, I think we agree that this is not something that I'm trying to push on everybody, that it's an expectation that you don't buy from Target, right? Because there are so many Black businesses, and I am not versed enough in the process, the contractual agreements and things of that nature that certain businesses had to go through to be able to sell within Target. So this is not something to undermine those businesses, but if we're being honest in the conversation, there are casualties of war, right? And this fast, I'm not saying this is like we're going on the battlefield, but you're playing a strategic game to try to change how we operate and how we use our dollars. And unfortunately, there may be some businesses that are impacted in the short term. But if we are changing where some people, if you shop, and I'm just using the number once a week, 4 times a month in Target, where now you just go once, that's a small incremental step in the importance of how we negotiate this minefield of these games that are being played really on an executive level. Like you said, Gerard, his name shall not be said by me, but we are seeing this game. So we have to restructure, and really, when we look at the dollar value that we're spending annually, right, that's bigger than some small countries. And we're talking about a Black community that's only 12 or 13% of this country. Yes. So again, we have to really educate ourselves and rethink how we are going to move forward. And that's where, what interests me, and that's why I'm here to continue that part of the conversation. And like I said, I see some of the comments starting to roll in. I can't wait till we get into some of those, but I want to turn it over to Carlika, to continue before we jump into that.
Absolutely. So one, thank you all for even sharing that. And so I'm looking at notes and I'm going back to another screen as well. But like Gerard said, it's not just Target, PBS, Amazon, Google, they're updating DEI initiatives or different things. But when we even go back to DEI, right? Mm-hmm. It wasn't till after or during the pandemic time, right, that we even saw more where DEI initiatives and different things were being put into place. And so we can't act like discrimination and different things is something new, right? Mm-hmm. It's just another day, another year, another avenue. We cannot even pretend as though certain companies or brands have not stated indirectly or directly mm-hmm. about Black consumers. But did it stop us from purchasing? No, we were still some of the biggest consumers. And so tonight, as we're saying, where do you spend your Black dollar? We're saying, how can you invest more into Black businesses? How can we invest more as a community? How can we invest more in coming together and taking a stance? And so, Gerard, you had mentioned that more than 50,000 have signed the petition against Target, right? That was based with the Pastor Jamal Bryant with New Birth Missionary Baptist in Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah. And so he's advocating, right? At some point, everyone advocating for something, right? Whether you believe in not spending with certain brands, that's your business. Where you reallocate your money or waste your money, that's your business, right? But then when you don't want to take a stand for anything, you will fall for everything, right? Mm. And then don't complain.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Don't complain. And so this boycott that Jamal Bryant, a 40-day fast, right? Mm-hmm. They're calling it a 40-day fast of Target shopping. And I love what Mr. Damon said. Even if one day.
That's it.
Because some of us go to the store often. Some of us mm-hmm. run back and forth to these stores every single day, multiple trips. And we want to talk about gas prices, right? At one point, everyone was complaining about gas prices. Mm-hmm. Everyone was complaining about, grocery prices. And now it's egg prices and all of these different things. But when we're even talking about those things, what are you reallocating and how are you adjusting and pivoting to those changes? Because guess what? You probably still went out and bought $200, $300, $400 shoes, hair, dinner, all of these things. So we're complaining about things, but what else are we doing?
Yeah.
Of the things that you can control, right? And so This boycott is set to begin on March 5th and last for 40 days. What is y'all take on that?
I'll be honest with you. You said something that kind of struck me, and I don't want my sisters, and I don't want to sleep on the couch because my wife looking at me. But to be honest, like just in really diving into this, right? Just in the beauty industry alone, Black consumers contribute almost 12% of the total spending. And when I was looking at this, and my wife and I just going through her products, just on her side of the battle. There's a product for just about everything. And I know our women go through different things with their hair. Sometimes you want to go natural. Sometimes you want to put braids into all of these different things. But that number, you're talking about, let's just use a flat number of $1 billion industry. Almost 12% of that is consumed by Black consumers. We have the least amount of money. We earn the least amount of money, right? So, and again, I'm not advocating or trying to tell anyone how to do, but is there a way that you can rethink how you're using that money? Does it mean maybe we do go natural, right? Because again, I understand corporate culture and a whole bunch of different things. We have become a point where we're trying to assimilate into something versus just being proud to be who we are. And that's a fine line. I get it. But that's just one industry where I can see a huge impact on change on, even if it was for a month. I know you, look, like I said, I told my wife, you got more than enough hair product in here for the next 2 years. Right? So, more, it wouldn't hurt not to. And that's just one area. So again, it's the rethinking of, how I do. Is it a comfort thing? Yes. Is it how we change? Incremental steps. And then what the flip side is the money that you save on that. That money, let's just say a month. Is it $100, $200 a month? Well, now you talk about you don't have a vacation fund. Well, you put that in the vacation fund. Now you can go on a vacation with the family at the end of the year. It's just creating different ways to think. And I agree. I see a lot of the comments in the chat. I want to go ahead and let's address some of the comments that we see being dropped in the chat. These are some gems right here.
Let's see here. So Christy Glass, thank you for joining us on tonight. She says, my thing is, why are we acting like they're not playing Monopoly with our money? Why are we not paying attention to that? Earlier, we said that they will boycott Target for whatever reason they said. But here's the thing, Target has been playing us all along. Target is like this sneaky friend that's deep down inside jealous, but want to keep our dollars coming in. Do I make myself understandable? So thank you so much, Christy. Anyone want to elaborate or comment on what Miss Christy is even saying? I feel like not only Target plays Monopoly, because I'm always looking at stuff on even a smaller scale, right? Mm-hmm. Honestly, we play Monopoly with our own money.
True.
Because we don't have to go to these particular stores, and we can set a budget, right? Mm-hmm. Of how much we're going to spend. Mr. Dane, you said it too. A lot of times we become product junkies. Mm-hmm. I'm going to just say it. We become product junkies. Mm-hmm. Cabinets full of things, it don't work. And I know, ladies, you got to do the trial and errors. If this curl put in didn't work, this edge control didn't work, right? But we become product junkies. But I'm not even talking about some of the necessities. Let's think about the things that we're spending beyond necessities. Let's go back to the pandemic.
Talk about it.
Nail shops were closed. Hair salons was closed. Restaurants was closed. Who saved more money potentially during the pandemic? Because you were forced to cook. You was forced to learn how to cook if you didn't know how to cook. Businesses were birthed, whether that was meal prepping and all of these different things. And so I like to start on a smaller scale because, yes, we're looking at things on a bigger picture. But the reality of it is, and this might upset some people, regardless of whoever's in the presidency spot, now, after 4 years, before he was in it, before the last person was in it, what was you doing with your money anyway?
Yeah, and you're right, Carlique, you make a great point because this whole focus on the Black spending, the power of Black spending, it's a long conversation. We've talked about it. It's $1.3 trillion estimated. So to Christy's comment, She said that Target is what she say. Is like the sneaky friend. You're right, but here's what I believe. Everybody can play their part in some form of fashion. You know, there's this idea where you do no harm to us. I'm not saying that you gotta be in bed with us. I'm not saying that you gotta march the line with us. But my point is this: if you say something, if you commit something, do what you say you're gonna do. And that's been one of the long-running issues with this country. And I remember it was the late great Martin Luther King that challenged the leadership to do what they said they're gonna do. Whatever that Constitution is saying, that everybody's supposed to be free, have the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness, to honor that. So I'm saying now that Target has made that move, they pledged a little more than $2.2 billion to our community. Then they pulled back. So now my point is, in a time where we're literally under attack, they made a comment. So everybody's looking at where can we serve, what can we do. There's this concerted effort, this Target Fast, started by the NAACP and Pastor Jamal Bryant. That's just something that we can latch on to and assist in our part. So, this concerted effort, instead of everybody just doing their own little thing, what can we do as a collective? And Target is one of those. And now, not only us, the shareholders, there's some lawsuits out there against Target. And they're saying, like, Target, you made a pledge. People jumped on board because of what you pledged, and now you're backtracking. So not only is the boycott that could affect them, but now the shareholders and others are filing lawsuits because they pulled back. So my point is, if everybody can do a little bit,
I agree.
And on this concerted effort, it could set some things into motion where now the others see, again, this $1.3 trillion. It's nothing new. We've been knowing that. But I think what they're banking on is us to raise a little cane, and then we go back to our corners and we don't do it.
And because that's what we do a lot of times, right? We get in a stance with unity, and we can even date back all the way back when, right? That people died for certain things, right? And then we revert back. Not everyone, but we revert back as a community, as a culture, to the same habits. And so I love what Mia Nicole. Mia Nicole says Black businesses that are operating in such a way that would make me want to continue to support. Honestly, it's hard to support some businesses when they are not consumer or customer orientated. Mia, yes, and yes. And we've heard that, right? We've heard that for years. Can I find a Black business that's going to be reputable? Can I find a Black business, like she said, that's customer orientated? Can I find a Black business that's not going to be trying to rob me, right, or hit me over the head with prices and different things? And so, Mia, we say thank you for being here, and thank you for your engagement. Let me read BC Roberts, and then you all can give your intake or your opinion and comments on. BC says, this is going to put a fire under some people to really start looking at their personal finances and being intentional about the money they work so hard for. Target won't see me at all. I love that for us. And she said, you know what? I love unity. And she's taking a stance. And I love what she said. We got to take accountability for our own money. No one forces you or any of us to go to the particular stores or buy the particular brands that we purchase, right? And so with those two comments, you all want to elaborate, give some feedback, give your opinion on both of those or either one.
Ooh, man. Well, I was sitting here, I was creeping in the comments, and I was looking at Mia and her comment, that first one, but also about, we're always going to find something to complain about, right?
Absolutely.
I don't care what side or where you sit. There's always going to be something to complain about. But that piece about, Black businesses, being intentional, I think I agree with her. But I also if I'm going to be honest, we also deal with each other differently than we deal with white businesses. If I'm going to be totally honest, you have to, we, not you, we, I believe, have to work together, because if I get bad service from your business, a lot of times I'm the first one to, well, not I, but we as a community, a lot of times we're the first ones to go to social media or go out or Yelp or whoever and put out a bad comment. And I know I've gone, and because I dealt with Black businesses, I've been on a Black chamber, I've been a director. I've sat down with people to find out, well, what was the problem? And did you go back to the business owner and explain to them what the problem was, so that at least give them an opportunity to fix it? This is the only way that you can get, those businesses to understand how to grow and how to support you and other, members of the community in a proper manner. Price gouging, different things of that nature, the customer service level, whatever it may be that you experienced that you didn't like, give them the same, give them more affordable, more of a lean and work with them so that they can get better. Because what we're talking about right here, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5 trillion dollars that we are pouring into another community. Well, let's work with our businesses to get them up to speed. Let's educate them. I do that a lot of times, through my show and different things. I have different seminars and webinars working with small and new business owners just on that point. And that's why I love that she said it, because we need to talk about that point right there. We don't get better unless we talk about it. We don't grow unless we speak on it. We don't grow unless we educate each other about it. And we have to be intentional with that conversation. That has to be a very intentional conversation. So, Mia, thank you for dropping that in the comment, because that's critical in us moving forward.
Yeah.
Look, Gerard, hold on a minute, because our brother Gregory is chiming in. And Gregory said, a common mistake is making buying Black a special event rather than a lifestyle.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that one. I like that. And it kind of feeds off of the other, even what Dane was just talking about giving, the feedback to these organizations. So one thing, another thing to add to what Dane said is just the psychology or the understanding behind what makes a business thrive. And sometimes the other businesses, they have the resources, they have longevity, they have the capital, and just the higher level of hate to say educated as in like someone that went to college, but just the know-how of how to deal with people. It makes a difference. So sometimes when you're hiring people just to get a body in there, they may not have the skill sets, but that's no excuse, right? Being polite and being kind should be ingrained in us. So, but let's be honest though, having that intentional customer service, that's another level of attentiveness and awareness that some organizations, let's be honest, they just don't have. So again, that doesn't make an excuse, but it just puts you in the know to realize what we're up against. And why do I say that? The reason being is like we have to be intentional now. So there is part of this boycott is talking about the sacrifices that we have to make. Do we forego some of our comforts that come with being in Target and Walmart and maybe ordering online from some of these suppliers, or going into an establishment, they might not be as set up as fancy and as nice as a Target and Walmart. So that's what this is about. And we're going to get into this later. I was thinking about the Montgomery bus boycott. That wasn't convenient for those people. They had to walk miles and miles a day and get up hours earlier than normal because they had to walk. So my point about that is that this period, it has to be something that we take the comfort mindset out of it and say, like, you know what, we're all going to sacrifice. We're all going to give a little bit more. We're going to be intentional and realizing that this is not anything about convenience. This is me operating on principle. And my point about that is, if we don't, they're just going to look at us like, hey, this is another show, raising up an issue, but what's going to get done? Nothing. I like the approach that they're taking, that it wasn't immediate, and pushed the start date to March the 5th. Why is that? Because they wanted to give the people who have products in Target, let them register with their organization so that we can go and buy their product online so that they won't take a big hit. So all I'm saying is, you're right. I'm not discounting what Mia said at all. It is an element that we have to address. But in the immediate time, because it is so urgent, is it okay that we forgive or give a little grace to our people, our community, just for the sake of, making them, the other side, feel this?
And I think with that, I definitely agree. I think it's one of those things, like you said, we're not making excuses, because if you started a business and whatever part you don't understand, hire someone to help you understand it and to be better. You
Yes.
have to want to grow your
Yeah.
business and set your business up properly to help it be sustainable. And customer service, right? If you really don't have customer service, then maybe you shouldn't work with people,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
That's just the bottom line, because we're, like you said, we're not going to make excuses. And so Kiki Jackson, welcome. She says, why don't we create our own Target or department store? I love that. And she also said it depends on what the community is offering. Sometimes it's not the business, it's the product. She said blatantly, don't open a restaurant if you can't cook. Please offer.
I love that. Keep it real.
Look, Kiki,
Keep it real.
100, right?
100.
If you're supposed
Real.
to sell soul food,
Right.
then we expecting soul food, okay? And we're gonna
Mhm.
need a little bit of seasoning
funny.
with that. And so, welcome. The comments are coming in. So I just want to read Tamia.
And Kiki said, I am a man.
Look,
He
okay,
is a
yeah,
boy.
yeah. Hey, look, keep it real.
Boy,
We like it, Kiki. Hey,
Look,
we apologize on that, but
we
you're
apologize
mad.
for that.
You're mad on that, and I'm not mad
Okay.
at you. I'm not mad at you on that.
But I love it, right? And so it is about creating our own. And I love someone in the comments said, typically, before they buy, Tamia, she said she was replying to Gregory, and she said she always, well, he or she, I'm gonna just say the name.
You're right.
Tamia says, I always look for a Black business before I buy. A lot of times, I mean, a lot of us really have not, if I'm being honest, because we're used to what we're used to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the mindset behind a lot of Black businesses was not always at the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
I will say when I was growing up, right? A lot of Black businesses were not always at the forefront of things,
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it came to certain products, right?
Mm-hmm.
Out of habit, creatures of habit. You need something really quick, you typically don't look for a Black, have not looked for a Black owned grocery store. You go
Right.
out of convenience and out of habit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just speaking for myself out of convenience and habit, but I love that because now we can have a new habit. And like Gregory said, this isn't an event, make it a
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle.
It goes,
Supporting.
again, I think it goes back to how, communicating. I mean, if you think of how things were done historically, we've kind of gotten removed from a lot of things where the Black church was the center of the community. A lot of different events and different things were spoken through the Black church and was done through the church. We've kind of gotten away, and I just feel like, I'm looking where I think it was Kiki said, why don't we create our own Target, or department stores? Well, we know it's happened in Tulsa, in Georgia, with Black Wall Street and different things. So we know it's possible. But I think, and we talked about this, before we even put this together, about the me mentality. We are dealing now with a me mentality. So how do we attack that mindset to be able to get to that point? Because with $1.34 trillion, there's no reason why we don't have communities of stores and growing businesses. But like I said, I think it's, again, we have to take this in small steps. Everything is incremental in how we change mindsets to get to that. And where do we begin? And like I said, history just teaches you a lot of things because it repeats itself over and over and over again. And there's aspects that I do believe that we can get back to, whether it be making the church the center of the hub again, or, using these Black, you have Black chambers, you got Black directories, NAACPs. There's so many different things that I feel have been pushed outwards, where before that was the central part of how we built and how we educated and how we design things. I don't want to make it so simple, but to me, that's like a simple baby step to kind of get back into engaging in that manner so that we can educate each other. We need to learn about each other so I can talk about what Gerard does, what Carlika does. I should be your salesperson, right? And this is how business is done. But we, like I said, it's just that me part. And I that part I have no answer for, where everybody is living in the me now or me first stage. And we presented this earlier, and I'm interested to hear from people watching it and participating in the audience. Like if you have any ideas on how to get over that, please share them, because we want to bring that into the conversation. We want to figure out how we can build this conversation, not just for tonight, but we would like to be able to build and keep building on this conversation. I think that's a crucial piece that we need to talk about and figure out moving forward.
Absolutely. So it's a lifestyle, right?
Exactly.
So that this is the norm for the generations to even come. That this is the norm. Kiki says, since OJ, the sales of black gloves have increased over 200%.
Yeah.
Hey, so if y'all don't know, that Kiki is one of my army buddies. So he's another black business that we could support. He's a comedian too. So he'll throw some he'll throw some company in there, which sometimes you do have to laugh at this. But hey, Tamika put up the targetfast.org website, and I'm gonna ask her to share that comment real quick so that we can it's up, so that we can tell people where they can go. So it's targetfast.org to learn more about the Target Fast. And I just want to make sure we highlight this throughout, because this is an organized, concerted effort for us to all, line up behind and support. So go to there. And the thing about this, once you register, you will get a PDF file, if you will, or a link that has a list of black businesses, especially those that are in Target. So they gave the black businesses that are in Target an opportunity to register here, so that, hey, if we're boycotting Target, because this is a real deal, if we're boycotting Target and their products are in Target, we're going to hurt them. So this is giving them the opportunity to put their business on this list, so that we can go out. And this everyday stuff. It's not just hair product. It's companies on there that has toilet tissue, dish detergent, laundry detergent, just everyday stuff. So the thing is, and we're about to get in this, and I'm asking Tamika if she can cue up the video of the Montgomery bus boycott, so we can show that next. But this is how intentional we have to be during this 40 days. When I know Dane, I'm not saying that Dane was wrong at all, but I'm taking the stands that I ain't going.
I don't shop at Target, so you ain't gotta worry about me. I don't shop there, period.
Yeah.
They ain't gotta worry about me. They don't get my money.
Yeah, but my point is that it's y'all doing your part by even raising the awareness. But my point is, if we can just get a little uncomfortable, get a little inconvenient at the moment, because our ancestors did what they did, and it was absolutely not about being convenient. So, Carlick, if you don't mind, we'll go to the video that we have that shows the bus boycott, and we'll come back and talk about it.
Almost immediately, the boycott was effective. Martin Luther King Jr. called it a miracle. Instead of riding buses, the boycotters walked, cycled, carpooled, hitchhiked, and drove horse-drawn buggies. Many taxi drivers in the city supported the boycott by offering 10-cent cab rides to black passengers, matching the normal bus fare. Across the nation, black churches got involved by collecting new and slightly used shoes to send to Montgomery to replace the tattered footwear of its black citizens that were now walking everywhere. The Montgomery transit system had very few riders and quickly.
Yeah, that last part where it said they face economic failure. Sometimes the only thing people understand is when you hit their pockets. And that's what we're talking about. What can we do as a collective to really move the needle that make these people know, like, hey, we're not just talking. We're going to hit you where it hurts. And then, through that way, maybe we can begin to see some meaningful, lasting change.
Absolutely. And I think that's what it's about. You got to start somewhere, right? And you start a movement, and you start the conversations, and you educate and empower what's happening now. Because what's happening now, whatever's happening, is already to happen, right? Right. They already took their stance and didn't keep their word. That's already happened. So how are we moving forward as a people? How are we moving forward individually, collectively, and for the next generation? And so even for me, even from the video, to me, it's just saying, let's take a stance. Let's unify.
Yeah.
Right. And this is not the first time to take a stance. This will not be the last time to take a stance,
Right.
but taking stands that's saying, you know what, this is monumental. This is how we're moving forward for generations to come. This is not just a moment, right? Because we've had a lot of moments with movements that become stagnant and then revert backwards, right? And so take a stance and say, you know what? This is how I'm going to teach my children. This is how I'm going to teach my grandchildren. And this is how we're going to live. And so, like I said, this is not the first time of taking a stand, and this won't be the last. And so we have to make a decision. How are you going to move forward? What part are you going to play? And taking full accountability of what can I do? Right? Regardless if I shop at Target or not, or I go 1 day, 3 days, 5 days, 7 days for some people. No judgment.
No judgment, right.
We have to ask ourselves, what can I do? Because what Damon does, what Gerard does, what Carlika does, what my family does, what another family does, it all builds collectively. Your $1 and Kiki's dollar, and Gerard's dollar, and BC's dollar. We all put that in a pot. There's a lot that can be done, but we have to change the mindset, right? We have to say it's not about me, but it's about we.
That's right.
As a collective, to move forward. When they boycotted years and years ago, it just didn't take one person. It was a collective of people that said, no, we're going to lock arms together to create a movement. And with anything, start touching people's pockets.
Look, I think that video just kind of spoke to this division of it came to what I had already spoke about. When you look at, the center being the church, and how everybody worked through the church, and the church gave, people gave to the church and helped give to the community so that people could make it through that tough time. Because it's, even though that choice that they made collectively, it still impacted them as well on levels, right? To their own personal, in their daily lives and their family lives, for that 35, 40 days or whatever it was, as long as that strike went on, there was a commitment by the community, and the church was at the center of it to make sure that people were still fed, they still had clothes, they still had some of the, and to me, it just took back to what I had already mentioned, like, where do we go? And I think that's a starting point. If we're going to commit intentionally, we're going to do it together, but we have to have certain things in place so that no man, no woman, no child, no family, goes without. And I think that is the bigger picture, because again, Carlika said it so eloquently, history, and I've said it, history has already shown us the blueprint. We have the blueprint. We've experienced the same thing with 47. I understand this right here, it's tearing down this couple, but we've seen this act before, right? So once you've experienced something, you got to have the intentional fortitude and be intentional about how you're going to move forward and make your move and make your decisions, best for you and for your family. And I think this is the same thing with this boycott. And I'm I think that's the mindset. Again, I'm not saying it's easy, but I just keep want to go back to that, because I think we have to talk about that. You have to bring that into your everyday conversation.
That's awesome. And you talk about the responsibility of the church, and I'll just add for the community as a whole. When you see in the video that they were talking about people donating shoes, now you got people walking miles and miles and miles. So what can we do? Donate shoes in that instance right here. So now it's about us, like, what can we do as a collective? Sometimes it is an inconvenience. If the place that we're boycotting is in close proximity to where we live, that makes a difference. Now I got to drive an extra distance. Let's be honest. Some of us are living paycheck to paycheck, and we built in a routine and some normalcy to help us get through that. But that's why I wanted to show that video, because it shows how, when it comes to things like this, it's not about convenience. Now you got people that literally walked miles and miles and had to leave hours and hours earlier to get to where they needed to go. And you got the taxi cabs that was offering 10-cent rides, because that's how much the bus was charging, right? So it does take the collective and the community to stand as one in unity. So unity. And I say that because sometimes we can wonder, like, am what I'm doing, does it really make a difference, right? And I would just say to that, yes, absolutely. if you look at it as the voting example of voting, it takes the masses to vote to make a change. And sometimes during the midterms, people don't show up at all, and they wait till the popular president to make a stance. But I'm saying is these little things do make a difference, and he's not asking for every Black person or every conscious person in America to not go to Target. I think he asked for 100,000 people, and it's not forever; it's for 40 days. And if we achieve that little small, event, or what's the word I'm looking for? This If we make that a reality, that 40 days for 100,000 people, it'll make a difference. Then we can group and say what's next. But my point is, like, we just got to start somewhere, and I think this is something that's meaningful and strategic and thought out that we can really do as a collective to start gaining ground and make change.
Stand up, take a stance, and don't waver when you feel like everything has blown over. Right? Because if it really said, if Target went on and did and kept their word, does that put everyone back in the fold? Like, oh, now I'm going back to Target, right? Where does that mindset go? And Gerard, I love what you said about, the truth is, none of us want to be inconvenienced, right? We was on a summit earlier tonight. Stop playing small, right? So, but I love to look at things on a smaller scale. All of us are not getting ready to march to the White House, and they're not just gonna let us in, right? That ain't happening. But locally, even before you go outside of your own doors, what are the conversations you having at your own house that you unlock every single day? What are the conversations, or are you even having the conversations open enough to hear how this may be even affecting your children, or when you're out at the workplace mentally, physically, or with all of the things on social media, the news and different things? What conversations are people having right at home? Because even with learning, the learning don't start when your child go to pre-K 3 or 4 outside the house. Learning starts right at home, within your closed quarters. So what does that look like? And even asking, we was talking to Attorney Cartia tonight, even with discrimination and different things, and she said they've had an influx of calls. I was talking to someone from the science, in a science field, and they were saying therapists have said they've had an influx of more calls because a lot of what's going on, including with Target and other organizations, is causing a lot of anxiety, it's causing a lot of stress. So I want to ask you all, in your personal life, how has all of these things, I know Target didn't keep their word, what lessons can we learn? Because let's be real, y'all, some of us ain't never kept our word either. Like, you didn't keep your word to your own child. Okay, your mama and your daddy didn't keep their word, and you still won't go get help or therapy. But we're not going there, right? But when we thinking about what can we do, right? What can you do? But because there's been an increase of fear and anxiety, how have all of these different various conversations and changes really mentally have you all encountered, either yourself or other people, hearing the conversations about people's mental health with all of the things?
I'm gonna let LG, you want to speak? You want to start with that one?
Hey, I'm sorry, I was distracted. Can you,
yeah.
What was the short part of that question?
Just addressing people's mental health with everything that's going on. That one's a deep one, because I think everybody's on a different level, right? When it comes to, how this thing is impacting, and whether it be Target, what we see coming down from, an executive level, and all of these changes that are happening. I think you got to have you got to find resilience in different ways. And for me, like, just dealing with this topic, right? Trying to really identify, for me, what I've really become more intentional about is really trying to identify and educate more Black businesses, right? So I've already been a part of a chamber and a directory that's Black-owned businesses. I've used my platform through my show to highlight, a lot of these different types of individuals, you know, my business corner, to show and highlight people that there are other services out there in our community that we can go to, and I really believe that we should use. I try to give tips and different things to help people kind of engage with, hopefully, and to be able to educate themselves on, you know, purchasing decisions and maybe where they should look. And you know, I'm here in the DMV area, and we're all in different areas, and I'm pretty sure from my experience and reaching out, they have them in your areas too. And I've always said there's a thing that I like to live by, you know, brick by brick, block by block, community by community, and state by state. Once we do these things locally, and we are able to now, like what we're doing tonight, we can be those bridges through other communities to other communities to be able to share all of these things. And I say all that to say, to go back to answering the mental health piece, because now I think that's a piece that we are helping alleviate for people. Now they don't have to worry. You know, we're putting information out, we're putting these guides out, we're putting resources that people don't have access to, or don't have access to make better decisions and to help with that mental health stress, you know, in it as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I'll just add, sorry for not being prepared to answer initially, but the mental health piece is real. You know, when this stuff is stressful, you know, so I tell people, number one, just be careful about how much you consume of this. You know, the other part of that is, when you're being careful how much you consume, is knowing, like, what is this involving? So we're talking about the target fast. I think it's important for our mental to know that there is an end goal. This is not just an endless, needless, unnecessary, no end in sight fight. And I say that because if we understand the goal, what are we trying to achieve? Once we reach that goal, I think there can be a level of achievement, or of happiness, just gladness that comes because we know that we achieve the goal, even if it's not fully achieved. To see that we made progress, I think mentally that can be a huge feeling of uplifting as an individual and for the community. The other part is realizing, and we've talked about this on all our platforms, there is a lot of resources out there as far as mental health is concerned. We know a lot of people who are mental health professionals. There are mental health advocates. There are programs going on all the time. And so now the other individual part of that is making sure that I take advantage of what's out there. You know, and these people are ready to stand in the gap and help you talk through these issues. And you know, sometimes the only therapy that I've needed was to be heard. And I'm saying, for as a mental health standpoint, just being heard, being on this platform, talking to like-minded individual, being amongst people that care about me genuinely, like, it makes a difference, Boris, when you're talking about the mental health aspect of it.
Absolutely, and I love that. And so let me just go to a couple of comments. Gregory McKinney says discrimination can have serious negative effects on someone's mental health and well-being. It has been linked with trauma, depression, anxiety, and low self-esteem. And PTSD is real as well. And you all, if you are looking for a great source to work through mental therapy and stuff, Gregory is definitely someone you should reach out. Kiki says, know who you are, and a lot of the mental health can be reserved. You're kings and queens. Quit expecting the white folks to determine who you are. Thank you so much, Kiki. And you all, I love what Mia said. She said, look, I'm still working on my own healing. LOL, broken trust. Absolutely, because it's not a one and done, right? This conversation is not a one and done. What Target and other organizations are doing, it's not a one and done, right? We're moving forward. So how do we move forward together? And I love that it starts with taking accountability, owning our truth, doing the healing, doing the work. And so one more comment, and then we're going to go to a commercial break. I saw Mia also saying, look, I'm still side-eyeing Target, okay? Good gracious or not. A snake shedding his skin is still the same snake.
That's right.
And so, look, we love these comments. You all have us cracking up. And this is serious, but our whole goal is to have a positive conversation, right? Where we're giving practical tips, resources, and hope Because a lot of people are just like, where is that line of hope?
Mm.
And so we're going to commercial break. We'll be right back.
Hey, baby. I'm just gonna check in on you. How's everything going?
Hey Mom, everything's good. Are you headed to meet the new client?
You know it. I have a feeling they're gonna like what I have to show them today.
Well, then I know you're gonna kill it. I love you so much and I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you, baby. I love you too. I'll talk to you soon.
Deborah Jones is back in the news again. I've got to say, she's got some ego.
She's way too aggressive.
The risk she takes in this market, you wouldn't catch me doing that.
I've seen more humility in a peacock.
Who does she think she is?
Deborah's integrity and honesty shine through in every transaction.
Her dedication to the client is unmatched.
She is really a visionary, always one step ahead in the market trends.
You'll never work with a more dedicated and resilient agent.
I love you so much and I'm so proud of you.
Hi, I'm Deborah Jones, broker owner of Dominaire Realty. My mission is to elevate your real estate experience through personalized solutions guided by integrity. So call me. Now is your time to shine.
Yeah, so if you followed us, you know who Debbie J is. She is the owner of Dominaire Realty, and we're been talking about making sure that we not only take the stand with the Target fans, but do our part to highlight Black businesses. So if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, the Houston area, if you're in around the Austin, Texas area, and even East Texas, Tyler, Longview, or Marshall, hit her up. She's there to help you with all your real estate needs, whether you need to work on getting approved, whether you need to work on your credit or just understand the buying experience better. Reach out to Deborah Jones of Dominaire Realty, and she is one of our Black businesses highlight that we want to make sure that we pay homage to.
Oh, that is simply amazing, you all. So we're not just saying, oh, well, don't spend your dollars here. We're giving you some resources. And if you are a Black business owner, we would love to connect with you so that we can spotlight your business as well. And look, Mogul TV Global is the place to be. So if you don't have a fire commercial or anything, then look, you need a commercial. Let's up level, because we want you out here, like Miss Debbie said, to shine, right? It's your time to shine. It is your time to shine, but we want you to shine right so that your business is reputable, your business is referral, and your business is on repeat. Okay, coming from us.
Okay.
Kiki says, love this show today. And yes, drop a link to your business in the comments. And if you know of any other businesses, Black businesses, that you're like, look, I use their products. And matter of fact, one thing that you can do, if you have products, do a review so that people know it's real.
That's right.
Right? Do a review on that product or that business, but we want to spotlight more Black businesses as well. And so this conversation, I mean, it can go on and on and on and on and on, because there's so much to unpack and there's so many levels to this, right? Mm-hmm. But wherever you are, you can start. Kiki says, bless you, G. You can start somewhere, and that somewhere is starting for, you can even start before March 5th, but as a collective, right? You can collect and start with everyone and come into community with everyone. I'm having a hot flash, y'all.
Get that fan, girl. There you go. Get it, sis.
My brothers look out. They're like, girl, get your fan. But as we're moving forward, right, I want everyone to take time to think about your own mental health and well-being. Have these conversations with your family, with your children. Get their viewpoint. Kiki said it in the comments. Ask the young people. I love talking to this generation because they think outside the box and they will take a stand, right? They're not boxed in, right? Our course, some of us, we remain a little more cuddly and comfort, right? But they're here to break those barriers. So you're absolutely right. Hearing their perspective, hearing their thoughts, but have those conversations with your children. Start raising them up to when you introduce them, like, I did not know that there was a company, a Black-owned company, that sold toilet tissue.
Right.
Right. I had no clue.
Yeah.
No clue.
And that's the beauty about these concerted efforts, because the powers that be, they got a lot more time than you and I to talk about this. They putting these resources together and educating us so that we can know that.
Absolutely.
So, but I like this.
And you said,
so
Kiki made a comment about not being around a lot of Black people. So Black businesses are limited. And absolutely. Because I mean, just my personal experience, when I transferred to a predominantly Black school, that was a culture shock for me. And everyone did not accept me. My sister and I were called Oreos, and these were from our own people. Right?
I can't. It's definitely where you're from, right? Because again, I'm from New York, so I really don't know that aspect of, difference. You know what? With Black, it was predominantly white, but I mean, there was a lot of mixed culture and different things. But I think when we have like a comment like this, if you're not around a lot of Black people, and Black businesses are limited, I lean to, we live in a day and age now where I would dare most people say that we spend a lot of time on our phones anyway. Well, you know what I'm saying? So, right. So if you have a phone and you have an access to that Google thing or whatever it may be that you use to search, you can, and I understand it because I have other friends that I know that are in areas that are predominantly white. And we've had this conversation where they spend a lot of time researching where to buy Black and where to get things that are Black. So I do understand what Kiki's saying, but in today's digital world, it's not that I don't that part. I don't feel there's an excuse for that. You can make it happen if you two, like we go back to the beginning of this conversation, you make that a mindset that this is what you're going to do, for yourself in your situation.
And we have
and like Tamika just put up this website right here. It goes back to what Dame just said. But another thing that we do here in the Dallas area, especially me, I live out in the suburbs. So that's me. It's not a lot of Black. It's not a lot. There are more now that are starting to move out in this area. But whenever we go up into Dallas, we look for those Black-owned places that we can sit, not just grab something and go. We want to sit down and get the entire experience. Let them see us sit down and enjoy, their whatever it is that they're serving. Interact with them, talk to them, and then tip them. It's one of those things like it's more than just buying the product. It's that full out support where if you got a Black restaurant, to see somebody sitting down enjoying your establishment, that's a huge part of it too. So you're right, Kiki, there is not a lot, but we're one of the most mobile societies on this.
And Gerard, we find what we want, right?
Exactly.
That's just it. So if you're like, oh, I just love going to GNC or whoever, there are companies Black owned who have vitamins and different things. Pro Black, Black Girls vitamins, different things. But I know Pro Black, they have some great products and stuff too. So we find and we do what we want to do. So it's really up to you how you choose to move forward. But that website, www.buyblack.us. Visit the website. It has a lot of things. Like I said, I didn't know it was some tissue out here. So I'm going to be going up there because I'm interested in seeing, look, what's up there that I need, that I can support. And this is the thing. We buy gifts for all various occasions. You're going to buy from somewhere. That's just the reality, right? And so because so many things, like Mr. Dame said, digital, we don't have no excuse. Pull out your phone, laptop, lay in the bed, do your shopping. And most of us, I mean, during the pandemic and after, so many things were innovated that you can go pick your groceries up now, right? You don't even got to go walk around in the store. Let someone do it for you. But they say, give someone else to do it, right? Get the package delivered, but we can't make any excuses. And so I love that. Let me just see if there's any other comments quickly before we go to a commercial break. Kiki said, church, ? Folks don't trust church like we did for help. And so we have to get back to some of those roots, right?
I don't mean it in the way that, and I'm not going to dive into it, but I don't mean church in the sense of like how we used to go to pray and things of that, but to have a hub, to have somewhere where communication can be disseminated. Not many of us have Black-owned newspapers. I'm lucky, I have a Black-owned newspaper here. I do a lot of work with him, but if you don't have that, the church is a great place to disseminate information. That's all. I'm not saying go send your kids to church or whatever. Yeah, we seen TV. I saw his comment about TV and all that. I'm not going down that rabbit hole tonight, Kiki. We're gonna say that for another conversation.
Look. That's why I didn't mention it. I was just like, I'm gonna read the first sentence.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, we go. Yeah.
And that's just saying we're educating and empowering every facet. So if you're looking for ways that you can get information or learn more resources, like Dame said, we're in this digital space, so we don't have any excuse to be ignorant of anything, right? And whatever we don't know,
and can I just say,
it's perished because of a lack of knowledge. So let's get the knowledge and get that. Go ahead, Dave.
No, I was going to have you, Gerard. I think you had something you want to say.
Oh no, I was just liking what Carlika just said. We perish for a lack of knowledge. Like that is the
all I would say is this: whatever we do, and I know we're coming probably close to the end of this conversation. I just want to, whatever we do collectively, one, be intentional about it, right? Two, a small step. If it's one day of boycotting or if it's a whole 45 days of boycotting, your part is impactful. And you have to know it whether you see it or not. Just because you don't see it don't mean that it's not happening and it's making an effect and an impact, right? Two, educate yourself. And this is why discussion is great. Just because you have three of them, I like to think of three of the most eloquent people that you may have sitting here before you, always question what someone is saying. So that you are educating yourself. That's how you become educated. Don't take, and when I said the digital age, you can go out and find information. That information you need to fact check, double fact check, and fact check so that it makes sense for you. That information is for you. You should question that information. I appreciate, being here and being a part of this conversation, part of my views, but I would tell anybody, if you hear something that you're not 100% sure of, question it. Go find out for yourself. Yeah. Educate yourself. And that's the part, like I said, when I came on earlier, it's the part that I care the most about, that we're educating ourselves on how we're moving forward and what roles we're playing, whether it be through this Target fast or any other fast that we decide to talk about and move on in the future.
And going beyond, right? We're starting March 5th for 40 days.
That's right.
But after the 40 days, what does that look like? And so let's go to commercial really quick and then we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah, do we have a
He's breaking through, reaching for the sky with fire in her heart, so never be denied. In the face of every challenge, she stands tall. With courage blazing bright, she conquers all. No obstacle can hold her back, no fear can change. She's rewriting the rules, forging her own domain. Through storms and shadows, she finds her why.
Okay, I was over here jamming. We back. Okay, so you all tune in Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for Rise and Energize Her Positive News. It's positive news every single day, words of encouragement just for you. So when you see it, be sure to share it with someone. And Tanisha, thank you for joining us. She says, trust but verify. And I love that, right? I love what Gerard said as well. You know what? You know your limits and your threshold for consuming information. Take a break, digest. And I love what Mr. Dame said as well. Do your own research. It's with anything in life. I may not have grew up with talking about all the financial things and how to invest, but that does not give me an excuse not to learn some financial discipline and financial literacy, right? And so whatever we don't know, I love that. Trust, verify, educate yourself, and do what's going to be best for you and your family, but even in your own community. And so, fellas, any last parting words before we wrap this session up? Gerard.
You go first.
Look, I said, be intentional. right? Don't be scared. And like Gerard said, go out there, man, and make a difference. Step up to the plate. I think we've watched our history, and I think this is our time. I feel this is our time to go ahead and make a statement. And I'm not saying go out there and be bold and jump off a cliff, but be intentional. Be a part of a movement that can make changes, not only in this current movement, but other movements that can come behind it that really can improve our communities, and that can really be a part of enriching our communities for the future. And I'm just proud to be a part of this conversation, and I look forward to continuing this conversation with you all in the near future. Thank you, Gerard. Thank you, Mogul TV, Carlika. It's been a blast. I thank you all. And let's keep this conversation going.
Absolutely. G.
Yeah. Appreciate that eloquent intro right there. Yeah, just I said earlier that we're under attack, and I wasn't being figurative, and it wasn't a hyperbole. Like, it is real life. We are under attack, and sometimes I sit back and say, how do we get here? And I was talking to a good friend yesterday. She went to church, and she was telling me that their pastor was actually talking about this thing and how urgent this time is. Well, one of the things we talked about is sometimes we think that we shouldn't suffer. Like, there's something about us, the great U.S., or because we're Christians, that we are somehow void of the need to suffer. And it's quite the contrary. Just not to get too churchy, but no, the Bible says that Jesus said that we will be persecuted for his name's sake. Yeah. And that's nothing new from our community. There's a long history. We talked about the original sin for this nation is that of slavery. And somehow some people think that just because we can drink out of the same water fountains now, that all of a sudden that we are, everything is okay. And it's not. That's the opportunity to push DEI. And right now DEI is literally under attack. And which is crazy to me. My last 5 years, and I'll get ready to wrap this up. My last 5 years in the Army, I spent as an equal opportunity leader in the military. And I went to a EO conference up in Moline, Illinois. And we talked about where the current threat is coming from in the sense of equal opportunity for our soldiers and the civilians that we work with. And guess what it was? It was the commander-in-chief. And guess who the commander-in-chief was? At that time, it was 45. And we talked about how do we implement and enforce a robust EO program to ensure that everybody is treated with dignity and respect. How do you implement that when the chief offender can be the commander-in-chief? And that was pretty telling. That was pretty eye-opening. Now here we are, a little more than 5 years later, and we're back in that space. And those very principles and institutions that were put in place to offer safeguards for everybody are literally been torn down. And some of us are sent back twiddling our fingers. And I'm saying, like, the time is urgent, and this is, again, not me just trying to put any fear in anybody unnecessarily, but to see people operate in this manner, it is kind of fearful, scary to me. The saying is that those who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it. Mm-hmm. I think they know that. That's why they're trying to erase the history so that we don't see it coming around and knowing that it's literally happening before us right now. So I'm asking to start in the homes, build better relationships amongst each other, whether it's intimate, business in the community, your neighbors, those things right there. But just realize that these people are not playing fair. So it's time to get off the couch and quit playing it like it's not happening and do your part. And this Target Fast is one thing that we can do as a community, as a collective, that we can get behind and start to make a little difference and let the powers that be that got more time, more resources, and to give us our next marching orders and see how we can fall in line and do more later. So that's it. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Carlika and Dame, for the words, the encouragement. Talking to y'all is amazing. I appreciate everything that y'all. Thank you, Tamika, for running this behind the scenes. We can't do this without you. Appreciate you and the audience. This is all for you and us as a collective. So keep on tapping in, be encouraged, and just again, stay connected so you'll know what's next. And then when we make those little small meaningful wins, we know that is working, and you can be encouraged and stay in the fight. So that's my part. Thank you.
Well, thank you all for joining us on tonight. We appreciate you all taking time out of your schedule to tune in. Be sure you share this live with someone else, right? And tag us in it when you share it. And if you know anyone, you all have questions or anything, make sure you drop them in the comments, because even after this, this is just the beginning. We don't stop here. We come back to these lives and we have conversations, and if it's something particular that you feel like needs to be discussed live conversation, please let us know. And also, if you know of a Black business in your area, right, drop that in the comments, because we don't have time to research on every single state looking for every place. We don't live everywhere, right? So wherever you are, if you know some businesses, you can create a PDF file. You can create a Google document that says, hey, in the Killeen, Texas area, here goes some Black businesses, right, that we can support in the DMV, in Virginia. Start local. But if you create a PDF file, I create a PDF, Gerard creates a PDF, Gregory creates a PDF, even if it's with 10 businesses that you have researched, because I can tell you now, we ain't got that kind of time to be going to the 50 states and beyond. But you do have some resources that have been dropped in the comments tonight. The buyblack.us, make sure you go and visit that. And then make sure you tune in to the Floor is Yours podcast. Make sure you follow I want to say Dr. Damon, but Mr. Dane on Infusion TV. And if you're not connected with Mogul TV Global, make sure you get connected as well. And so until the next time, you all let your voice be heard, take a stand. Don't be fearful for opening your mouth and taking a stand, because it's your stand and it's my stand and someone else's stand that we can band together. So we hope you enjoyed it. And until the next time, peace out.